What's up, guys, and welcome one and all to Planet Coaster Alpha 3. This is now finally been released, the Alpha 3, which has been teased all kind of madness over the last, I don't know, however long it's been. Now, this is a time-lapse style video. Now, it's very similar to that of Silverette. If you don't know who Silverette is, he is literally the best builder when it comes to this game. He's absolutely insane, and he builds some amazing stuff. So if you want to go and check out him, then his channel description will be his channel link, will be in the description below. So go and have a look at that. He is absolutely incredible. Now, he does these kind of videos as well, so essentially it's just kind of like a take on what he does. But I really wanted to build a park without having to do live commentary over it. So I did that. This is actually an hour's worth of building in the space of 20 minutes. So I've sped that up, obviously. But what we are doing is a Enchanted Forest kind of style of game, kind of Disneyland-esque, kind of Enchanted Forest-y sort of thing. Now, my aim is to build a Disneyland castle at the end of it. Sort of, you'll see further on in the game where this path I've got going here, this straight path, goes through most of the whole thing. However, the path will, it will disappear off in different directions, but I wanted this continuous straight line going all the way through. Now, I'm just here looking at a couple of the pre-built stuff, try and get some ideas about what I want to do with this, and see how it works and how I can flip stuff around. Now, I haven't actually had a good look. This is the first time I've ever really even picked up this game and had a good look of how all this works and the different things about how things are built. Now, for this, I am simply placing this to try and figure out what pieces it is they're using. Now, here I do manage to figure out that this is kind of like a curved thing, kind of, I don't know, a curved whatever it is that I'm trying to build here. But what I'm trying to do here is build myself a sort of like an entrance, a gateway kind of entrance thing. Now, I am nowhere near as skilled as some of the people who build on this game are. Some people are absolutely incredible when it comes to building here, like I said, Silverette being one of them. Now, what I'm doing is just trying to figure out a different way of building, trying to sort of sum up what I want to do here. Now, what I'm aiming for is kind of like a fantasy kind of castle entrance, kind of main entrance. Now, obviously, you have the main entrance of the gate, which is fair enough. But the idea of what I'm going to be doing is having the sort of curvy walkway, which you've got there, is obscuring the entire view until you get to this straight here. So you'll be introduced with this kind of opening, this castle opening here, and then you'll be able to see further down the main big castle, which I'm building, the whole kind of Disney-esque, kind of the Disneyland castle, which I want to try and build. Now, when it comes to building that, I am literally going to try and build a bang-on exact replica of it as much as I physically can. It's going to be difficult, but, you know, we have to try somewhere, we have to learn. So I'm still learning how to use these tools properly. Like I said, some of these guys can use these tools and build the most insane-looking, amazing things. Now, I am nowhere near as good at that, so yeah. Bigging myself up loads here, by the way, just in that sense. But I will be trying to build, like I said, a Disneyland-esque castle, and I will have a picture of it on my second monitor, which I've got here, which I very rarely use unless I'm live streaming, which I can't do at the moment, annoyingly. But we are still trying to work on that. Now, the amazing thing about this, the new the new alpha, is you can color stuff. There is a lot more coloring options in this game, which is brilliant, because before you were restricted to whatever colors you were given, and that was that. But now you've got extra colours and things like that. But however, I do like this red. I really like the red kind of look, this fantasy kind of look on here. But like I said, we are going for an Enchanted Forest kind of theme here. Now, at the moment, there is no trees, obviously. But there will be more which are going in there, and I will be placing them kind of randomly. Chances are I will dip in and out of when I can to try and build some additional parts onto here, which you see off screen. Anything which I feel like is going to be a little bit boring. But this is primarily a full-on hour gameplay of me just building, of me trying to figure out what I'm doing, building as I go along, figuring out as I go along. I've kind of got no rough plan. I've got kind of a rough idea about what I do with the whole thing, but I've got no actual plan of what it's going to turn out looking like. So far, it's going okay. I'm trying to mimic these exactly as they are, because if I use the flip, I can duplicate it all I like, but it doesn't look the same. Obviously, it won't be an exact. You can't kind of mirror something. As far as I'm aware, there is no mirroring kind of thing on here, which would be a really nice feature if there was a mirroring option. But unfortunately, currently, as far as I'm aware, if there is, then let me know. But there is no mirroring to this, which would be really nice to be able to do, because obviously you kind of want to be able to flip things. The only way you can do that would be to build something which you kind of build half of something is a good way of doing it. Say, for example, you want to build a large, I don't know, building, for example. You can build half of that, like the front. Say you build like the left-hand side and the front. You can essentially duplicate that, and so it would then be the back and the right-hand side, for example. that is kind of the only way you can do any sort of mirroring. A mirror tool would be really, really nice. I think that would be a really good feature to this game. For specific reasons of this, you know, you are free to build whatever you want on here. And then we have managed to build our kind of opening front gate. I know it's very basic, but once we've got it sorted out, I will probably stretch the wall. I'm thinking of making the wall bigger and having it pull off of the side of this. Given this is just the opening gate, I'm thinking of pulling off the side and making it kind of like an all-round sort of enclosed kind of space, so it's like a kingdom almost, because it's the Enchanted Forest. It's a kingdom kind of within a forest. Could be a really interesting thing to do. Just kind of pull the wall off the side bit there, as you can see, and then just sort of move it wherever I want to move it. So we're just adding these windows at the moment, trying to get some kind of basic look. Still playing around with a lot of the new features that are on here. A lot of the new pieces. There's a ton of new pieces from what there was before. Before we only had kind of like one kind of pirate sort of theme, and this has introduced the whole fantasy theme, which is, oh, it's brilliant. It looks absolutely fantastic. Some of the best looking stuff I've seen on here is just amazing. I'm trying to get a flag on the top here. We managed to find one here. We want some flags. It's kind of an entranceway, sort of a secondary entranceway. I'm looking forward to see if we can ever change the additional entranceway which we've got at the front, which would be really nice if we could change that. However, I'm not sure if that's something we're going to be able to do, but we've got some nice lanterns here as well, which was going to light this up, because obviously once it goes to darkness, we're not going to see a lot. Now, this is paused. Now, you'll see what I mean here about this whole straight line that I've got going on here, to try and move and have this universal line that kind of goes through the middle. However, you know, you'll veer off and stuff, and at the end of that line is kind of where I'm thinking of having the big kind of castle. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm kind of planning sort of a rough kind of walkway, ways to get people to go around. It's not just straight and boring. It's definitely some lines, some curvature stuff going on there, which is what I'm doing here. However, like I said, there is this universal straight line. Now, what I'm planning on doing in the middle here is to have kind of like a village, sort of like a kingdom-y kind of village going on in the middle there. And as you'll see, you walk through this kind of central area into that village. But I'm not touching that at the moment. I'm going to start trying to light this thing up. Now, these are really cool. These are new things, which I love, by the way. These look fantastic. They're sort of like a... How can I explain what they are? I can't remember what they're called. Lantern towers, there you go. They're just these lantern towers, and you have these standing torches, which I feel will light the place up and be that kind of medieval kind of look. What it's going for is the enchanted, medieval, witches, wizards kind of look to this thing. And that's what I'm going to be trying to go for. So we're going to have this lit up, and the whole idea is to have this nice kind of walkway going through the middle. Now, I do need to have a lot of foliage going on here, which is going to take quite a while. We're going to be using the sycamores because they are nice, thick trees on this game, so they obscure the view a lot. Now, the whole point of this central kind of walkway here is to obscure the view. You should, when you're walking through here, the first time you walk into this park, you don't really want to see what's in front of you. The whole idea is to, when you walk around that corner and you see the front entrance, you're kind of like, oh my god, look at it all. Look at all the madness that's going on in there. That's the idea. Now, we're mixing up a couple of trees. I will flesh that out at another point, the stuff on the outside. But like I added the higher, you know, the sort of the terrain, the hills around the walkway to have this kind of, so you can hide it a bit more. Now, I do enjoy using these as well, which I actually can't remember what trees those were, because they lean. That's a nice thing I like about them trees. They have this kind of shape, especially if you've got them up against a line to the surface, then they lean, which is a really nice kind of feature, which is something I really like. I like to be able to have these trees kind of leaning over, so it's harder to see. And I'm going to have loads of bushes and things like that, which we're going to get to now. We're going to add all the bushes and all the different foliage around this, just trying to flesh it out, trying to make it a little bit more interesting to walk through. The whole idea, like I said, is to hide this particular part. We want to hide this part of the whole park until you walk around that corner. And hopefully this is going to do just that. Because of the height of the hills and the trees and the thickness and stuff, you won't be able to see all the way through it until you get to that final corner when you're greeted with this entrance walkway here, which is something I really, really like. I still need to get used to how all the different pieces, how you can use them into different kind of ways. They've moved around a lot of the things. So I've not played this game since Alpha 2 kicked in, the very kind of the first week of Alpha 2, and I enjoyed playing it, but it wasn't something I was really putting on my channel until I uploaded a couple of the roller coaster stuff. But for me, now that this is fleshed out a lot more, I feel like I've got a lot more I can do with this. We're just going to move on to that. Now, I know that a lot of this is just me placing trees, which is incredibly boring, but we will place a couple of things soon, and we're placing some more of the, I think they're beech trees. They could be birch, I'm not sure. I think they're beech, but I like how they hang over the, walkway. I think that's a really nice feature. Just realised I've forgotten to add lights down here as well, which is something I should really do, because, you know, it would be very useful. I do like this water there at the front, by the way. Does it really nice. And as you can see, it's very difficult to see through that. I'm thinking of thickening up that last corner to have a few more trees in there to make it a little bit harder for you to see that. But we have these nice little kind of, what are these? These are like, I can't remember what it's called, that type of plant. It's called something, whatever they're called. But we're thinking of adding a little something in here. Now, the first one we're going to be adding is the teacups. Of course, the teacups, typical kind of easy to make, simple kind of feel of a ride. Now, these are the typical teacups. Now, the reason I placed them is because it made me think of Beauty and the Beast with the whole teacups that are alive and whatnot. And I also like how you no longer have the top kind of scaffoldy thing along the top of the entrances there for the rides. Although it would be nice to have that. I'm not sure if that's a thing. I don't know if there's a thing where I can change that or if it's adding that, but it would be nice to have that as a thing. But then again, it gives you more freedom about what you want. Now, there are some blueprints already in the game. I'm just having a look at what these are, just to see what I can add. And I do place some of them at a later date. Now, obviously, now we've got the Steam Workshop, so we'll be able to download other people's things and chuck them in there, other people's creations and whatnot. Now, I am not a highly skilled builder. I'm just putting that out there now. This is still much of a learning curve for me. So if you're looking for something which is going to build some insane stuff just by kind of piecing together all these little ridiculously tiny things, then you're probably not going to get that. Not yet anyway, because I'm still learning of how to place this. I'm still learning the better ways of things, how to look. And it's all very kind of personal. You know, these places are all very, very much kind of like a personal touch to them, because everyone has different styles. But I really like these bushes. These bushes, those little flat ones, really help because they just get the boring look of the grass away. There's nothing worse than just having that crappy looking kind of grass look just everywhere. You need to flesh it out a little bit more with rocks and all kinds of different things, and which is what I'm doing here. I'm trying to make this like kind of final walkway a bit more nice to look at. And that's the kind of thing I'm looking for in my park. I don't really want there to be much as the way of just grass. If you can see grass, I've not put anything in there, which is kind of what I'm not looking to do. I want things to be interesting to look at, well kept, that kind of Disneyland feel where it's very much everything has been placed there for an exact reason for people to look at, which is kind of what I'm going for in this. I kind of want there to be this interesting look, and like I said, I'm not really looking for there to be a point where I can see grass. If I can see grass, there's not enough there. I need to think about what I can have there. That's my kind of idea of something. Benches are finally in the game. Benches and stuff like that are finally here, which is amazing. I've been waiting for benches for ages. You've had to make a kind of own makeshift ones just for the sheer look of something. But I need to put some windows in those towers. They're looking too bare. But as I do here, I've noticed there's not enough here. We need to be able to see. However, I might remove them. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to put there yet. I want to have, like I said, this village kind of thing in the middle, but at the same time, I want to have this kind of street kind of thing to it, where there's just kind of buildings dotted around the place. Just as simply as just aesthetic value. Like, I'm thinking of maybe having like a guardhouse down here somewhere, probably on the right hand side when you walk in, kind of like a guardhousey type thing which I can build and sort of have a go. But these things here, as you can see, these are different sort of shops. Now, I will be adding these in shortly, but I need to have some more pathways in the middle. I'm just having a look at what these look like, because I've not actually seen any of these. We're having these pathways through the middle that walk you through the village as well, so there's other ways of getting around, different ways of moving. Now, what I'm going to be doing is we're going to fill this whole section here with these kind of villagey kind of looking things. So it's got like a little kingdom in front of the castle which you walk through originally to get to the main thing at the back. Now, I'm probably bigging this up like mad because it's probably not going to anything like as what I'm envisioning it to, but we're going to hope it does. We're going to hope it looks as good as I want it to. Who really knows? But there's a nice big building here which I like. It's got nothing, there's no point to that building. It is simply for aesthetic values, which is what I want. That's exactly what I'm after, so I can build more of these. Now, I do attempt to build them myself, and I don't do too badly. I'm taking examples of the one which I've already placed there as sort of like a reference point for myself, because I don't really look into architecture that much, so when it comes to looking like these fantasy style buildings, which I love that little cottage there, by the way, I'm trying to figure out different ways that I can make these, figuring out how the colour schemes work, figuring out all the different parts that work and look good. Now, because I'm not used to building massive amounts of stuff on here, this is still really, really new to me. So, cut me some slack when it comes to this. So cut me some slack. It's not going to be anything which is stunningly amazing, but it's still not terrible, if you know what I mean. I'm still trying to figure out the best ways of having these kind of 3D, better looking buildings which look more realistic, which look more like something which could actually exist in the world, as opposed to these terribly built, boring pieces of crap. Now, like I said, I'm still trying to figure out the placement about where everything is. Currently, I can't find anything. It's really difficult for me to find anything in this game at the moment. I don't know where any of these pieces are, which is difficult for me because I don't know where half of these things are. Some people just immediately know, right, that's there, that's there, that's there. But like I was saying earlier, stuff has moved. Things have moved and they've been categorized a little bit more, which is, yes, that's better because, you know, you can look for these things and you've got more search tools. But at the same time, it's like, no, I was used to where it was. I no longer know where it is. And in all fairness to myself, I probably should have just looked beforehand before making this video. But that's boring. The whole point of these things is to experience this. I'm experiencing 3.0 for the first time when I'm building this. But I like how we've got these wooden cladding that we can add on here now to add to the effects, to add to kind of the better look, the more, you know, cottagey, more interesting look to this game, which is exactly what I'm after. It's exactly what I'm after. And it's looking so much better. I'm so much happier with how this game is playing at the moment, and I love it. Honestly, about 1 billion times better than the Roller Coaster Tycoon world. Hands down, 1 billion times better. Just putting that out there now. Literally, you could not get much better on this game than what that is. Although I now realise I'm playing this game, I'm pretty sure I've forgotten to add something on the other side. But, you know, who cares? The whole point of these buildings is to not be normal. These are interesting buildings. They're supposed to look different and be kind of funky to look at. But I'm still learning. Like I keep saying, I'm still learning this game, how to play it, where the best things are, how things can look when you mix them all together, trying to figure out different sort of colour schemes, what things look like. It's very much a work in progress. Obviously, it's a work in progress, but it's very much me. I'm still trying to learn about, figure out what I can put where and how things look. I'm literally just toying around here. I'm trying to figure out where everything is. Like I said, stuff's moved. I don't know where half the crap is on this game anymore, so that's what I'm having to learn about where these things are. It's mental. It's absolutely mental, guys. There's a lot for me to learn. There's a lot for me to learn. So yeah, this is what we're doing. In this episode, we are looking at the front gate before the entrance, and we've started on this village. Now, like I said, the village is going to be the central point. I really like them lanterns. They are some awesome lanterns. The central point of this place is going to be this village, which I want to try and flesh out, have some trees in there, and it's going to primarily be something that people can walk through, have a nice little kind of, oh, that's really nice. But the whole point is to walk in this and see the back end. As you go all the way through this, you should be able to see the top of the castle at the end. Now, obviously, this village is going to obscure the view a little bit, but as you're walking through, we want to be able to see this castle kind of staring you in the face right at the end and looking absolutely spectacular, might I add. And I really can't wait to get building that. That's going to be a true feat of strength to build, but it's going to be absolutely huge. It's got to be massive, and it's got to have like a good scale to it. Because that, you know, the Disney castle is huge. It's not a small thing. It's the centerpiece, basically, of all, I think. I've never actually been to Disneyland, but it's a centerpiece of all of their parks, which is something which you need. You need a centerpiece so you can get these kind of awesome looking things. So we've basically completed this cottage. I need to kind of flesh out, make it look a bit more homely, kind of lived in. So we're adding these plants like they have done on the other one, but there's still other things I need to find. Like I'm going to have probably a little time to myself at some point where I can kind of flesh these out and have a play around to see what I can find these additional pieces, so I know what I want to add to all of these. Because, you know, there's some accents and stuff like that I can add to it, which is something I want to do. But it's looking good. So far, I'm actually quite pleased with how the opening and the start of this place. We've got a ride going, even though that's, you know, incredibly pointless because there's no one in the game's paused currently. There's no one in the park. In fact, there is nobody in the park. It is 0 people here at the moment. So it's going okay. It's going okay. Next episode, I'm going to probably add a few more rides. Try and just finish out. There's no way I'm going to be able to finish this village, but I'm going to have a look around, see what I can do, try and have a play around, see if there's anything that I can add to this that makes it look a little bit more kind of lived in, a little bit nicer for you to look at, and just kind of go from there. The castle is going to be something I do, which is going to take me ages, but it's going to be something I do further into the game. We're probably going to have a nice little witch's hut somewhere hidden in the woods, have a nice little walkway that goes through the woods and all the way up to a witch's hut or something like that, which is going to look really nice. But we're going to add that castle. I'm going to have to try and figure out how I'm going to work and have a look at how the castle is in the actual, the actual park itself. Try and figure out what I get out that way. So far, at this little point here, we're just adding a little kind of medieval marketplace here to finish off what we're doing today. We have a couple of nice tents here. They've already got pre-built. I'm adding like a little kind of marketplace, which is just going to simply be something people can walk around and have a look at. But I like how this looks. I like this specific little spot here. It's perfect for marketplaces. But I need to flesh this out. I'm probably going to add some walkways or to make it look like it's walked on anyway. But it's a nice little thing. You often see these kind of little medieval marketplaces in the middle of these places. So I do thank you very, very much for watching, guys. The next episode will be up very shortly. Please don't forget to give us a like rating and subscribe for some more of this so you can see how the Enchanted Forest goes. Thank you very much, guys. Goodbye. Die, Sentinel Combat Unit. You die now. Okay, got titanium. That's good. Oh, crap. Okay, no, we're good. We need to reload. Die! The other one's just chilling.